Hey there, and welcome to this explainer. Look, if you've crossed that 50 mark and you're waking up feeling heavier, maybe a bit bloated, or honestly just drained of energy before your day even gets going, I want you to know your frustration is completely valid. You're probably eating less, being incredibly careful about your diet, and yet the scale just refuses to budge. It can totally feel like your own body is working against you. But today, we're going to look at a fascinating, science-backed 3-minute morning routine that completely flips the script on this whole situation. So, why doesn't eating less work anymore? Okay, let's dive into this. When the old tricks stop working, it's so natural to just blame yourself, right? But what's really interesting here is that the root cause has absolutely nothing to do with a lack of willpower. None at all. It's not just bad genetics or simply getting older either. Today, we are going to point directly to the real biological culprit.
You see, the true problem is insulin. Think of insulin as this highly efficient delivery driver in your body. Every single time you eat, your pancreas releases insulin to pick up the sugar, or glucose, in your blood and deliver it to your cells for energy. It's a beautifully simple system. But as we cross 50, those cellular doors start getting stiff. They literally stop responding to the insulin delivery driver. Because the doors won't open, your body panics. It produces even more insulin just to force the sugar inside. This condition is what we call insulin resistance. And guess what high insulin does? It acts as a massive signal to your fat cells, especially around your belly, to store fat and never ever let it go. It also triggers those intense sweet cravings and that dragging daytime fatigue because your blood sugar is acting like a volatile roller coaster.
To really see how this builds, let's compare your body now to your younger self. Back in your 20s, your cells were highly sensitive to insulin. You ate, the glucose was delivered efficiently, and your body easily burned fat. Fast forward to your 50s, and that sluggish insulin response completely changes your internal landscape. This is exactly why trying to solve a 50-plus metabolism issue by simply eating less fails miserably. Eating less completely ignores the chemical crisis happening inside your body before a single piece of food even passes your lips.
And that brings us to a massive scientific reveal. I call this your morning plot twist, the cortisol awakening response. Did you know your body goes through a wild hormonal event right when you wake up? Between those last few hours of sleep and the 30 to 60 minutes after you open your eyes, you experience this awakening response. Cortisol is your main stress hormone, sure, but it's also your waking hormone. It naturally spikes to give you the energy to get out of bed. But here's the catch. For many people over 50, this natural spike triggers the liver to dump a massive dose of glucose straight into your bloodstream. That's right, your blood sugar and your insulin spike before you've even had breakfast.
So the absolutely crucial point here is how we react to this morning glucose dump. Think about the timeline of a typical morning for most of us. You wake up. First thing you do? Grab your phone to check messages or the news. Boom, your stress goes up, amplifying that natural cortisol spike. Then, you sit down at the kitchen table, which keeps your muscles essentially asleep. Finally, you eat a carbohydrate-heavy breakfast. You're basically pouring sugar on top of a fire that's already raging in your bloodstream. Every single one of these actions creates a disastrous hormonal loop.
Because of this incredibly common, yet flawed routine, by 8 a.m., your body's fat storage switch is fully turned on. Your insulin is sky high, your metabolism is sprinting in the completely wrong direction, and your day has barely even started. But hey, I have great news for you. The solution is a remarkably simple biological intercept known as the 3-minute protocol. It's a protocol consisting of 3 perfectly timed 60-second steps: move, breathe, and hydrate. You do this right when you wake up, before checking your phone, before that first cup of coffee. Let's break down exactly how this shuts off that fat storage switch. Minute 1 is all about muscle activation. Why muscles? Well, your muscles are your body's biggest glucose processing plants. When you contract large muscle groups, they actually absorb blood sugar directly from your bloodstream, and they do it without needing insulin to open the doors. So by doing just 10 slow squats, 10 standing marches where you lift your knees, and 10 gentle calf raises, you are soaking up that morning liver glucose dump immediately. You don't need to break a sweat. You don't need to do an intense workout. You're simply waking up the processing plant to keep your insulin levels perfectly flat.
Next, we move straight into minute 2, box breathing. Now that the muscles are awake, we really need to shut down that excess cortisol. The fastest, most scientifically proven way to adjust cortisol in real time is breath control. So you inhale through your nose for 4 seconds, hold it for 4, exhale through your mouth for 4, and hold for 4. Doing this for just 60 seconds activates your vagus nerve. This nerve is like the master switch for your nervous system. It forces your body out of a stressed, reactive state and into a calm recovery mode, which drastically improves how sensitive your cells are to insulin.
And for the final 60 seconds, minute 3, we practice strategic hydration. During sleep, your body loses moisture, meaning you wake up mildly dehydrated. And get this, even mild dehydration thickens your blood and spikes cortisol even further. So you're going to sip about 500 milliliters of room temperature or warm water. But here's the trip, and it's a big one. You absolutely must add a quarter teaspoon of sea salt or pink salt or a squeeze of fresh lemon juice. As we age past 50, our kidney function shifts. That little pinch of salt helps your cells actually absorb the water rather than just flushing it straight out. Meanwhile, the lemon helps alkalize the body, which research shows directly supports those insulin receptors we talked about earlier. When you put this all together, the true power of this routine becomes super obvious. Researchers highlight that combining these 3 elements, muscle activation, cortisol control, and cellular hydration, lowers your morning insulin levels up to 6 times faster than simply skipping breakfast or relying on intermittent fasting alone. I mean, think about it. Fasting doesn't move your muscles to burn off that morning glucose dump, and it certainly doesn't rehydrate your cells. This 3-minute habit attacks the root causes simultaneously, literally supercharging your metabolism for the rest of the day.
Okay, moving on to our next section, the 50-plus metabolism, and exactly why your body changed.
You know, standard health advice often completely ignores the reality of aging cells. But there are 4 major science-backed biological shifts happening in your body right now. First up, muscle loss. By age 55, you can lose 15 to 20% of your muscle mass. Less muscle means less room to store glucose, which leads to higher insulin. Second, your mitochondria, those little energy factories in your cells, start to decline, making them way less efficient at burning fat. Third, a drop in sleep quality. Just one single night of poor sleep can spike your morning insulin by 20 to 30%. And finally, protective hormones plummet. We're talking estrogen in women and testosterone in men, which severely disrupts how your body handles sugar. You absolutely need this 3-minute morning intervention to fight back against these exact shifts.
Now for our final section, the first meal strategy and how to keep that momentum going.
Let's compare 2 different approaches here. First is what I call the fat storage breakfast, eating carbohydrates first. Things like bread, fruit, oatmeal, or cereal. I have to issue a stark warning here, guys. If you eat carbs first thing in the morning, they immediately convert to glucose. This triggers a massive insulin spike that literally slams the brakes on fat burning. You just undo all your hard work. Instead, you want to opt for the fat-burning breakfast, which prioritizes protein and healthy fats before anything else.
So, what does an ideal, strategic meal actually look like? Picture this: 2 to 3 eggs cooked in a rich olive oil to give you excellent protein and healthy fats. Half an avocado, which is just packed with fiber and potassium to balance your electrolytes. A handful of walnuts or almonds for sustained energy. And a black coffee or green tea, both of which contain compounds that actively support insulin sensitivity. Eating this way stimulates glucagon, which is insulin's partner hormone. And glucagon actually mobilizes your stored body fat to be used for energy. Plus, it keeps those mid-morning cravings totally away until lunchtime.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to take this quote to heart. Your body is not broken. Your metabolism is not your enemy. It is simply operating in a system that no one has explained to you until now. If you've been struggling with your weight or your energy levels, please let go of the guilt. Your biology is an incredible machine, and it will respond so powerfully once you start giving it the right signals tailored for this exact stage of your life.
It only takes 3 minutes to completely rewrite your hormonal code for the next 12 to 14 hours. The science is incredibly clear, and the power is literally right there in your own home, requiring absolutely no special equipment. So I'm going to leave you with this one provocative question to think about today. Are you ready to send your metabolism the right signals tomorrow morning? Try the 3-minute protocol and just watch how your body responds. Thanks for learning with me today, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.